Life has a strange way of revealing its most precious moments when we least expect them. Sometimes, the surprises we plan for others return to us in ways we couldn't imagine. This is a story of discovery, love, and the gentle reminder that family has 1,000 silent ways of finding its way back to us. I went to surprise my son after months of not seeing him. I planned everything. How I would knock on his door, how he would open it in shock, how we would laugh together and make up for the time we had lost. But the biggest surprise was not the reunion, it was the tiny heartbeat waiting behind it. As I stepped into his home, I didn't expect to hear the soft cry of a newborn. I followed the sound, confused, curious, hopeful. And there he was, my son, cradling a little baby in his arms. My grandchild, a life I didn't even know existed. A blessing that had been silently growing, waiting to be discovered by me in the most unexpected moment. My heart didn't just melt, it expanded. In that instant, I wasn't just a father anymore, I had become a grandfather. A new role, a new joy, a new chance to give love that multiplies instead of divides. I realized something profound that day. Sometimes life hides its greatest gifts behind the doors we don't open often enough. Sometimes distance steals moments, but love returns them multiplied. And sometimes, all relationships, no matter how strained, can be renewed by the innocence of a new soul entering the world. Being a grandparent is not just about age, it's about rediscovering wonder. It's about feeling your heart soften when tiny fingers wrap around your own. It's about watching your child become a parent and understanding, for the first time, how deeply they needed you all along. So here is today's guidance. Reconnect before life surprises you. Love deeply before time teaches you. And never assume you've seen everything, because life is always preparing a miracle behind the scenes. We don't just grow older, we grow wiser. We don't just gain years, we gain generations. And sometimes, within a simple visit, life transforms from familiar to unforgettable. That day, I didn't just surprise my son, life surprised me too. And it gifted me a reason to smile, hope, and love all over again. Life has a beautiful habit of surprising us at the exact moment we stop expecting anything. It never sends a message before delivering its blessings. It never asks for permission before changing our path. And it never waits for us to be ready before placing something extraordinary in our hands. That is the wonder of existence. The greatest gifts arrive unannounced, in moments when we are distracted, tired, or even broken. And yet, they become the turning points of our journey. From childhood, we are taught to plan, to prepare, to predict. We grow up believing that happiness is something we can schedule. But as we move through the world, we learn a deeper truth. Some of the most important things in life cannot be planned. They appear suddenly, lightly, quietly, almost as if life is whispering, "I haven't forgotten you." Think about the moments that changed you. They weren't always the ones you expected. Sometimes it's a stranger's kindness on a dark day. Sometimes it's a conversation you didn't plan to have. Sometimes it's an opportunity that arrives when you're convinced you don't deserve one. And sometimes, it's a new life entering the world without a warning, carrying the power to mend wounds you thought would never heal. Life's unexpected gifts come in many forms. Some arrive disguised as challenges, a setback, a closed door, a sudden pause. These moments often force us to look in directions we never considered, and suddenly, we discover strength we didn't know we carried. We find hidden talents, new dreams, or people who appear just when the world feels empty. The gift isn't the difficulty. The gift is the person you become because of it. Other gifts come as gentle surprises. A message from someone you thought had forgotten you. A smile that lifts something heavy off your chest. A memory that suddenly makes sense years later. These moments are small in size but enormous in impact. They remind us that the universe is always moving pieces in our favor, even when we are unaware. But the most profound gifts are the ones that enter our lives silently and transform everything. A child, a friendship, a new home, a second chance. These gifts arrive like soft footsteps, unannounced, unexpected, but destined. They are not accidents, they are alignments. Life places them in our path exactly when we are meant to receive them. It's strange, isn't it? We spend so much time worrying about what is missing that we forget how much is already on its way. We worry about timing, forgetting that life has its own clock. We worry about control, forgetting that some blessings only appear when we release the need to predict everything. When an unexpected gift arrives, it changes not just our circumstances, but our perspective. Suddenly we realize why certain things never worked out. Suddenly we understand why certain people left. Suddenly we see that the delays, disappointments, and detours were not punishments, they were preparations. They were clearing the space for something better. Imagine expecting nothing from a day, and yet walking into a moment that changes your heart forever. Imagine planning an ordinary visit, only to discover that life has planned an extraordinary blessing for you. Imagine believing that your story was slowing down, only to realize it is just beginning a new chapter. That is the magic of life's unexpected gifts. They bring back the spark we thought we lost. They remind us to stay open, even when we feel closed. To stay soft, even when life has hardened us. To stay hopeful, even when we have learned to expect disappointment. Unexpected gifts also teach us humility. They show us that we are not the ultimate architects of our destiny. Yes, we make choices, but there are forces beyond our understanding that guide us. Moments that were never in our plans end up becoming the most beautiful parts of our story. And sometimes, these gifts heal generations. A new child brings peace between people who grew apart. A moment of truth brings clarity to years of confusion. A simple act of love brings warmth back into a home that felt cold. Life doesn't always give us what we want, but it always gives us what we need, and often in ways we couldn't predict. The truth is, humans are not very good at recognizing blessings when they arrive quietly. We expect fireworks, grand entrances, big announcements. But life rarely works that way. Instead, it offers miracles in whispers, a door slightly open, a chance encounter, a gentle realization, a new heartbeat, a changed mind, a softened heart. These are not coincidences, they are invitations. Invitations to grow, to forgive, to try again, to love again, to become who we were always meant to be. When we look back on our journey, we won't remember all the plans we made. We will remember the surprises that changed everything. We will remember the blessings that showed up without warning. We will remember the moments when life said, "Hold on, I have something for you." So today, let this be your reminder: don't fear the unexpected. Don't resist what you don't yet understand. Don't assume the best moments have already passed. Every sunrise carries a new possibility. Every person you meet could be part of your next chapter. Every closed door could be leading you toward a better one, and every quiet moment might be preparing a beautiful surprise. Life's biggest gifts are not loud. They are not predictable. They are not planned. They arrive softly, but they stay forever. And one day, when you look back, you will realize that the moments you never saw coming were the ones that built your heart, shaped your spirit, and gave your story its meaning. There comes a moment in every person's life when they look back and suddenly realize how quickly time has moved. Not slowly, not gently, not patiently, but in great, sweeping waves that carried away days, months, and even years without asking for our permission. And in that moment of reflection, one truth becomes painfully clear: distance is rarely created by roads or miles. It is created by silence, by postponing conversations, by waiting for the right time that never arrives. That is why the greatest advice life whispers to us is simple yet profound: reconnect before time moves too far. We often assume we have time to mend relationships, time to apologize, time to check on people we love, time to fix what we allowed to break. But the truth is, time is not ours. It never was. We borrow it moment by moment, heartbeat by heartbeat, and we never know when the loan will be taken back. That is why reconnecting is not an option. It is a necessity. It is the difference between regret and peace, between loneliness and belonging, between a broken past and a healed future. Life has a way of teaching us the value of connection only after we've spent years running from it. We get busy, we get hurt, we get distracted. We tell ourselves we'll call tomorrow, we'll visit next week, we'll apologize when things calm down, we'll reach out when we feel ready. But time does not pause for our excuses. It keeps moving, quietly, steadily, relentlessly, until one day we wake up and realize how much we've lost without even noticing. The distance between two people rarely begins with something big. It begins with small things: a missed call we didn't return, a misunderstanding we didn't clear, a moment of pride that kept us from taking the first step. Day after day, these small gaps grow like cracks in a wall. And before we know it, the wall is too tall to climb. But if life teaches us anything, it's that walls built by silence can be broken by a single moment of courage. Reconnect before time moves too far. Because relationships do not heal by themselves. They heal through action. Through small steps. Through a simple message, a simple visit, a simple conversation that begins with, "I've been thinking about you." And the beauty of reconnecting is that it doesn't require perfection. It only requires sincerity. You don't need the right words. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to show up, in truth, in humility, and in love. Think about the people in your life who once meant everything to you. Where are they now? Are they still close? Or have the months and years carved a quiet distance between you? Life becomes softer, kinder, and richer when we choose connection over silence. When we let go of ego and choose to rebuild instead of waiting for the other person to make the first move. Sometimes the people we drift away from are the ones who would run to us the fastest if we needed them. Sometimes they are waiting for us to reach out, just as we are waiting for them. But someone has to break the silence. Someone has to have the courage to say, "Let's not lose more time." And when we do reconnect, we often discover that the distance wasn't as deep as we feared. The love was still there. The bond was still there. The memories were still there. All they needed was a spark of effort to bring them back to life. Time is the most powerful force in the world, but connection is the force that gives time meaning. Without connection, life becomes a series of empty days. With connection, even a single hour can feel full of purpose. Reconnecting restores what time tried to steal from us: warmth, belonging, understanding, and the simple comfort of knowing we are not walking through this world alone. The truth is, we never regret reaching out. We never regret sending that message. We never regret making that call. But we do regret waiting too long. We do regret choosing pride over peace. We regret every moment we allowed our loved ones to wonder if we still cared. Sometimes reconnecting doesn't just heal the other person. It heals us. It breaks the weight of loneliness we've been quietly carrying. It dissolves the guilt we didn't want to admit. It replaces the ache of distance with the relief of presence. And sometimes, reconnecting saves us from regret. Because life does not always give second chances. People change, circumstances change, hearts change. One day, the person you want to reach out to may no longer be there. And nothing weighs heavier on the human soul than a message unsent, a visit unmade, a relationship unmended. Reconnect before time moves too far, not because people are perfect, but because they are important. Because every person we love is a chapter in our story. And every chapter deserves to be completed, not abandoned halfway. Reconnection is also a powerful act of forgiveness. Not only forgiveness for others, but forgiveness for ourselves. For the mistakes we made, for the moments we were absent, for the times we let our fears make decisions for us. Reconnecting says, "I'm ready to begin again." And there is strength in that. There is beauty in that. There is healing in that. Life is not about living without mistakes. It is about repairing what we can while we still have the time to do so. And the moment we choose to reconnect, the moment we decide to fight for the people who matter, is the moment we begin to reclaim the peace that time tried to take from us. So, pick up your phone. Walk to their door. Send the message. Say the words. Begin the conversation. Do it not because it is easy, but because it is necessary. Because every second we wait is a second we will never get back. Before time moves too far, move first. Before distance grows deeper, reach across it. Before silence becomes permanent, break it. Reconnect, not tomorrow, not someday, but today. Because the greatest gift you can give someone is your presence. And the greatest gift you can give yourself is the peace of knowing you tried before time ran ahead of you. There are moments in life when everything feels heavy. When the past refuses to let go, when old wounds stay fresh, when memories sting more than they soothe. We walk through days carrying burdens that no one can see. Regrets, losses, disappointments, broken bonds, unspoken words. And in the middle of all this weight, it can be easy to believe that healing will never come. But life, in its quiet wisdom, has a way of opening new doors when old ones stay stubbornly shut. And sometimes, the sweetest form of healing enters our world not with noise or announcements, but with a single breath, a new life. A new life doesn't always mean the birth of a child. Although nothing is as powerful as holding a newborn and feeling your heart melt in your hands. A new life can also be a new chapter, a new beginning, a new relationship, a new purpose. It is anything that brings fresh energy into a place where darkness once lived. It is the moment when life gently whispers, "It's time to start again." When a new life arrives, in any form, it brings with it a kind of healing that no medicine, no apology, and no explanation could ever offer. It softens what was hard. It brightens what was dim. It soothes what was hurting. It renews what was fading. There is something about newness that touches the oldest parts of us. It reminds us that we are not stuck. That no matter how long we have been hurting, the story is not over. A single moment, a single connection, a single ray of hope has the power to repair years of pain. And often, that healing begins with a new life that enters our path unexpectedly. When a new baby is born into a family, for example, something incredible happens. Even people who have drifted apart begin to move closer. Hearts that once felt cold begin to warm again. Old disagreements suddenly seem smaller, less important. Because the presence of a child reminds us of everything pure, everything gentle, everything worth protecting. A baby doesn't know the conflicts, the mistakes, the distance. It only knows love. And in its innocence, it teaches us how to love again without conditions. But healing through new life is not limited to parenthood or grandparenthood. Healing can come from a friendship that arrives when you least expect it, from a new dream that awakens inside you after years of silence, from a decision to leave behind something that no longer serves you, from a sudden realization that you deserve peace after carrying emptiness for too long. Sometimes we think healing must be loud, dramatic, or obvious. But often, healing begins in small moments, moments we may not even notice at first. Like the first day you wake up without the weight of yesterday on your chest. Like the moment you smile again after thinking you had forgotten how. Like the first breath of hope after months of darkness. These small beginnings are the new life the universe places gently into our hands. Healing is not always a straight line. It is not a process we can schedule or control. It happens quietly, gradually, then suddenly, like seasons changing without our permission. But when something truly new enters our life, it acts like spring after a long winter. It brings color back to places that were once gray. It brings warmth to places that felt frozen. And it reminds us that no winter, no matter how harsh, lasts forever. New life gives us the courage to forgive, not because others always deserve forgiveness, but because we deserve peace. It gives us the strength to release the past, not because we forget, but because we finally understand that we cannot hold on to pain and expect joy to grow. It teaches us patience, reminding us that good things often take time to arrive, but when they do, they arrive with purpose. A new life can also heal us by changing our perspective. When we see someone innocent and fragile depending on us, we learn to soften. We learn to listen. We learn to put our ego aside. We learn to appreciate the present. And most importantly, we learn that love has the power to fix what pain has broken. Sometimes healing comes from becoming responsible for someone else. Sometimes it comes from letting someone love us in a way we've never experienced before. And sometimes, healing comes simply from knowing that life is giving us another chance. A clean page, a fresh start, a new beginning. It is amazing how a tiny heartbeat, a new face, a new purpose, or even a new chapter can reconnect us with parts of ourselves we thought we lost. Suddenly, the past feels lighter. The future feels brighter. And the present feels worth living again. Every new life reminds us that hope is never gone. It may be quiet, it may be hidden, it may be late, but it always returns. And when it returns, it brings with it a healing that settles deep within our soul. Perhaps the most beautiful part of new life is this: you do not have to be ready to receive it. It arrives anyway. You do not have to deserve it. It blesses you anyway. You do not have to understand it. It transforms you anyway. New life is the universe's way of saying, here is another chance. Here is something beautiful. Here is something pure. Here is something that will help you breathe again. And when healing finally begins, truly begins, it does not come with noise. It comes with peace. It comes with acceptance. It comes with gratitude. It comes with the realization that life still has so much more to offer, no matter how much you have already lost. So remember this: new life does not erase the past, but it helps you rise above it. It does not remove the pain, but it gives you something worth living for beyond it. It does not rewrite your story, but it helps you turn the page. And that is the miracle of healing. It does not always come when we want it, but it always comes when we need it. There are times in life when we look around and realize how much has changed. The people, the relationships, the conversations, even the silence. We grow older, we grow distant. We grow into different versions of ourselves. And sometimes, without even noticing, we drift away from the very people who once felt like the center of our world. Families break apart, misunderstandings pile up, words are spoken in anger, and suddenly a home that once echoed with laughter feels quiet, cold, unfamiliar. But here is the deep truth life teaches us again and again: family bonds are never truly lost. They may stretch, they may bend, they may grow silent for years, but they do not disappear. They live beneath the surface, beating like a quiet pulse, waiting for the right moment, the right gesture, the right spark to awaken again. Family is not held together by perfection. It is held together by something much stronger: shared roots. No matter how far branches grow, their roots remain intertwined in the same soil. You may go to different cities, different countries, different worlds, but the foundation of where you came from stays alive inside you. Sometimes people believe distance means the bond is gone. But distance only hides the connection. It does not destroy it. A mother's love doesn't vanish because her child moves away. A father's concern doesn't fade because he hasn't heard from his son in years. Siblings don't stop feeling connected because life pushed them in different directions. The bond is always there, quiet, patient, enduring, like a flame covered by ashes. One breath of warmth, and it glows again. The beauty of family is that even after years of silence, one meeting can melt everything. One hug can erase the heaviness of the past. One honest conversation can rebuild what was broken. We often underestimate the power of coming back together, of sitting across from each other and realizing that hurt didn't erase love. It only covered it. Love, real family love, never stops breathing. Families fight. Families argue. Families disappoint. But families also forgive in ways no one else can. Because deep down, they remember. They remember the childhood moments, the shared meals, the celebrations, the hardships survived together. These memories act like invisible threads, connecting hearts even when minds try to deny it. Sometimes, life gives us signs reminding us that it's never too late. A phone call you didn't expect. A message that comes out of nowhere. A memory that suddenly warms your chest, or a new life entering the family. A child or grandchild whose innocence brings everyone closer again. New generations often heal old wounds. Their presence softens hearts, dissolves ego, and reminds us that the cycle of love is bigger than the mistakes we made. No family is perfect. Every family carries stories of pain, misunderstandings, regrets, and unresolved emotions. But imperfection doesn't weaken the bond. In fact, it strengthens it. Because through imperfection we learn compassion. Through distance we learn longing. Through conflict we learn understanding. And through separation we learn the true meaning of reunion. It is important to understand that family bonds are not made of time. They are made of connection. You can spend years with someone and feel distant, or you can meet someone after decades and feel close instantly. Time may age the body, but connection keeps the heart young. Many people carry guilt for drifting away from their family, for not calling enough, for not visiting enough, for letting pride win over peace. But the beauty of family is that it doesn't hold permanent grudges. It holds space. Space for you to return, space for you to try again, space for you to rebuild at your own pace. The moment you take the first step, life meets you halfway. Family bonds also survive because they are built on a language deeper than words. The language of shared experiences. You may forget details, you may forget dates, but you never forget how someone made you feel. The comfort of a mother's touch. The encouragement of a father's voice. The loyalty of a sibling who stood beside you when the world didn't. These emotional imprints stay alive forever, even when people drift apart physically. Sometimes, the bond is rediscovered when one family member faces a challenge. Illness, loss, or hardship often pulls people together in unexpected ways. In those moments, past anger feels small. Old arguments feel meaningless. What matters is the heartbeat, the presence, the reminder that life is fragile and love is worth fighting for. Family is also the place where you can return without fear of judgment, even if you made mistakes. Even if you walked away, even if you failed. Because family does not love you for what you achieve. It loves you for who you are. The door remains open, even if you've been gone long enough to forget the way back. And even when we lose family members to time or fate, the bond still remains. They live in our gestures, in our habits, in our teachings, in our stories. They become part of our identity. Their love becomes a guiding light we carry silently, unknowingly, beautifully. To say family bonds are never lost is to say that love, once planted, never fully dies. It may sleep, but it does not vanish. It may quiet down, but it does not leave. It may feel distant, but it does not disappear. And when the moment is right, when ego softens, when wounds begin to close, when hearts grow humble, the bond finds its way back. Life is too short for permanent distances. Too unpredictable for endless silence. Too precious for relationships left unresolved. If you feel someone slipping away, reach out. If you miss someone, tell them. If you want to fix something, start now. The beauty of family is that effort, even the smallest one, is always felt deeply. One message can shift the entire energy. One reunion can change a lifetime of regret. The truth is, family bonds are not lost, they simply wait. They wait for courage. They wait for healing. They wait for a moment of truth. And when that moment comes, love flows again, pure, warm, familiar, as if it never left, because it never did. There are moments in life that change us instantly. Moments when the world feels new again, when our heart opens in ways we didn't know were possible. When love returns to us with a different shape, softer, purer, quieter, yet somehow deeper than ever before. One of those moments is becoming a grandparent. It is not just a title. It is not just a role. It is a second blessing, a second chance, a second heartbeat added to your life. Becoming a parent teaches you responsibility, sacrifice, and strength. But becoming a grandparent teaches you something far more magical. The beauty of unconditional love, without the weight of the world on your shoulders. It allows you to experience childhood from a gentler distance, where your heart is involved but your fears are lighter. It allows you to relive the joy you once felt with your own children, but with wisdom, patience, and grace you didn't have back then. It is like life whispering, "You have done well. Here is your reward." The day you hold your grandchild for the first time, something inside you shifts. The years you carried responsibility suddenly soften. The mistakes you made as a parent feel forgiven. The regrets you held on to slowly dissolve. Because this new life is a reminder that legacy matters more than perfection. A reminder that love travels through generations like a quiet river, flowing from one heart to another, creating a chain that does not break with time. Becoming a grandparent is a second blessing because it gives you the chance to witness the circle of life from a wider perspective. You see your child, the same child you once held in your arms, now holding their own child. And in that moment, you understand something profound. Life continues, love multiplies, and everything you poured into your family has come back to you in the shape of a tiny, fragile, beautiful soul. This new chapter brings healing you didn't even know you needed. All the years you spent working, worrying, and sacrificing begin to make sense. All the nights you stayed awake thinking about your children's future suddenly feel worth it. When you see your child become a parent, you realize how deeply they needed you all along. Even on the days they pushed you away, even on the days they didn't understand you, even on the days you didn't understand them. Becoming a grandparent brings that understanding full circle. There is also something incredibly spiritual about becoming a grandparent. You begin to appreciate time in a new way. You see the fragility of life, but you also see its infinite beauty. You understand that every generation carries lessons from the past, courage in the present, and hope for the future. And you, as a grandparent, become a bridge, a link between yesterday and tomorrow. But the blessing doesn't end with emotional fulfillment, it extends into purpose. Many people reach a stage in life where they wonder, what now? What is left for me? Becoming a grandparent answers that question with a smile. It gives you a new reason to wake up, a new voice to listen for, a new small hand to hold, a new heart to protect. It reminds you that your story is still unfolding, that life still has surprises for you, that joy still has room in your chest, and the connection between a grandparent and grandchild is unlike any other relationship in the world. It is built on trust, on warmth, on stories, on gentle guidance. A grandparent doesn't need to carry the responsibilities of discipline the way a parent does. They don't need to rush. They don't need to stress. They simply need to love, and that love becomes a safe place for the child. A grandparent becomes a home in human form. Children understand this connection instinctively. They may not understand the world, but they understand the softness of a grandparent's hug. They understand the comfort of that familiar voice. They understand the magic in those old stories, the wisdom in those small lessons, the peace in those quiet moments. A grandparent's presence becomes a treasure, one that shapes the child without them even realizing it. But just as much as you teach the grandchild, they teach you. Their innocence reminds you of forgiveness. Their laughter reminds you of joy. Their curiosity reminds you of wonder. Their trust reminds you of love. They remind you of the person you once were, hopeful, excited, open-hearted, before life's storms made you cautious. In their eyes, you rediscover the softness you lost along the way. Becoming a grandparent is a second blessing because it also brings reconciliation with your child. You see them in a new light, not just as your son or daughter, but as a parent who is trying their best, just like you once did. You begin to understand their struggles, their fears, their hopes. And suddenly old misunderstandings seem small, old arguments seem unnecessary, old wounds begin to close. A grandchild has the power to heal family dynamics simply by existing. And so, this second blessing becomes a second chance. A chance to show love in ways you didn't know before, to give without fear, to guide without pressure, to support without expectation. It is a chance to rewrite family patterns, to strengthen bonds, to bring warmth back into relationships, to leave behind something meaningful for the next generation. When you see your grandchild grow, laugh, learn, and bloom, you realize that leaving a legacy isn't about material things. It is about love, values, wisdom, memories, and presence. It is about your voice echoing in their heart long after you're gone. It is about being part of something that continues even after your time ends. Becoming a grandparent is truly a second blessing because it brings back everything life took away slowly: excitement, hope, purpose, softness, and the quiet joy of watching a new life begin its journey while knowing you helped shape the path it will walk. And in the end, it reminds you that no matter how many years pass, love always comes full circle. It returns in a new face, in a new heartbeat, in a new generation, and it heals you in ways you never imagined. Children often grow up believing they have learned how to stand on their own, how to face the world without relying on anyone, especially their parents. It is part of the natural journey, seeking independence, creating distance, trying to prove that they are capable. But beneath that confidence, beneath the appearance of strength, there is always a part of them that quietly reaches back for the hands that once taught them how to walk. Children need their parents more than they ever admit, and this truth becomes clearer with every passing year. Every mistake, every moment of confusion, every silent night when they wish someone would understand what they cannot express. There comes a point in every child's life when they try to build walls between themselves and their parents. Not because they want to be distant, but because they want to be strong. They feel that needing their parents makes them weak, dependent, less capable. They hide their struggles, they mask their fears. They carry burdens alone because admitting the truth feels like stepping backward. They forget that parents are not there to judge. They are there to stand as the quiet strength behind their children, even when the child tries to walk away. But time has a gentle way of revealing what pride tries to conceal. Children eventually discover that independence does not erase the need for guidance. They learn that life is not as simple as they believed when they were young. The world is loud. Responsibilities grow heavier, choices become complicated, and the path ahead becomes less certain. And that is when the heart remembers. Parents were the first guiding light, the first shelter, the first place where they felt safe. Children need their parents not only in moments of success, but especially in moments of confusion. When they are unsure of their future, when they face betrayals, failures, heartbreaks, when they discover that life demands more than courage. It demands wisdom. And wisdom is something parents have earned through years of living, through mistakes, through survival, through patience. A child may try to hide their struggle, but deep inside they wish someone would support them the way their parents always did. There is a special kind of comfort that only a parent's presence can bring. Even when children become adults with jobs, responsibilities, families of their own, the desire for reassurance never fully fades. A simple conversation with a parent can calm storms they didn't know how to control. A single piece of advice can bring clarity that months of overthinking could not provide. Their voice, their presence, their memory, it becomes a quiet anchor in a world that constantly shifts. Sometimes children pull away not because they don't care, but because they are overwhelmed. They do not want to disappoint their parents. They do not want to appear weak or lost. So they choose silence. They choose distance. They choose independence, even at the cost of emotional loneliness. But silence is not absence of feeling. Distance is not absence of love. It is often a misunderstanding of how deeply connected hearts truly remain. Every child, even the most confident one, carries the weight of wanting to make their parents proud. This desire does not fade with age. It grows stronger. They may not say it, but they feel it with every decision they make. And when life challenges them, when things go wrong, when dreams shatter, they instinctively wish to go back to the place where love did not depend on success. That place is their parents. Children need their parents because parents represent home. Not just the physical space, but the emotional truth of where they came from, who shaped them, who believed in them before anyone else did. A parent's belief can rebuild a child's confidence in seconds. A parent's love can heal wounds that friends and partners cannot understand. A parent's presence can lift emotional burdens that have been carried for years. As children grow older, they begin to understand the sacrifices parents made. They learn that love was expressed in ways they never noticed. They realize the weight their parents carried quietly, the dreams they set aside, the hardships they endured, the nights they stayed awake worrying, the courage they showed in order to protect their children from hardships they themselves had to face. And this understanding softens them. It reminds them that no matter how independent they become, the foundation of their strength came from someone who cared long before they knew how to care for themselves. Children need their parents not only for guidance but also for grounding. Life can pull them in many directions: work pressure, financial stress, relationship problems, uncertainty about the future. In these moments, parents become a reminder of what truly matters. They become a voice of calm in the middle of chaos. They remind their children that life is not a race, and that worth is not measured by achievements alone. They remind them to breathe, to reflect, to trust the journey. Even when children try to hide their tears, even when they pretend to be strong, even when they act as if they can handle everything alone, their hearts quietly long for the comfort they once took for granted. A child may stop holding a parent's hand, but the need for emotional support never truly disappears. It simply becomes silent. And then one day, when children have children of their own, the truth becomes unmistakably clear. They finally understand the patience, the worry, the sleepless nights, the quiet prayers, the sacrifices. They realize that being strong does not mean being alone. It means having a support system that has always existed, one they sometimes ignored, sometimes forgot, but always needed. Children need their parents more than they admit, and parents need their children more than they show. It is a circle of love, sometimes quiet, sometimes unspoken, but always present. And when a child finally opens their heart, when they allow themselves to lean on their parents again, they discover that they were never meant to face life alone. They were meant to face it with the people who love them more deeply than anyone else ever will. Love is one of the few forces in life that refuses to remain limited. It does not stay contained within one heart, one relationship, or one lifetime. Instead, it expands, stretches, and grows across generations, weaving a thread of connection that binds families together even when time, distance, and circumstances try to pull them apart. Love multiplies, not just in the hearts of individuals, but in the spaces between them, in the memories they share, in the values they pass on, and in the lives that continue long after they are gone. The beauty of generational love is that it begins even before we understand it. A child entering the world does not know the sacrifices, the prayers, the fears, and the hopes that their birth awakens. They do not know the stories they are stepping into, the roots they are inheriting, the dreams their family carried long before they arrived. Yet even in their innocence, they become a living reminder that love is not just felt, it is inherited. When a parent looks at their child, something extraordinary happens. The love they once received from their own parents suddenly finds a new direction. It flows forward instead of backward. It grows instead of fading. The same hands that were once held by their parents now hold the hands of a new life. And in that simple gesture, generations silently connect. A grandparent's tenderness becomes a parent's guidance, and a parent's guidance becomes a child's foundation. Love travels through time in ways we do not see but deeply feel. As children grow older, they begin to understand their place in this chain of love. They recognize the quiet sacrifices their parents made, the late nights, the long worries, the small moments of teaching and protecting that shaped who they became. And as they understand, gratitude begins to deepen. They begin to see love not as a single moment, but as a lifetime of seeds planted by people who may no longer be here. People who carried them in their hearts before they ever carried them in their arms. Generational love also carries stories. Lessons told around dinner tables, memories passed on through photographs, values preserved through traditions. A family's strength is not just measured by what they achieve, but by what they pass forward. A grandparent's wisdom becomes a guiding light. A parent's resilience becomes a child's courage. A child's laughter becomes a healing gift to the entire family. Each generation enriches the next, sometimes knowingly, sometimes unintentionally, but always profoundly. Love multiplies in the ways we give it. A kind gesture to a child today becomes a value that child carries into adulthood. A word of encouragement becomes a belief that lasts a lifetime. A moment of patience becomes a model of compassion that is repeated when that child becomes a parent. Even the smallest acts become part of a legacy far greater than the moment itself. Family relationships are not always perfect. There are misunderstandings, disagreements, and painful chapters. But even in these moments, generational love shows its strength. When love spans generations, it becomes deeper than temporary conflict. It becomes a foundation that remains steady beneath storms. Forgiveness becomes easier when one remembers that love did not start today. It started long before either person was born. And because of that history, families find their way back to each other again and again. One of the most powerful moments in life is when a parent becomes a grandparent. Suddenly, love multiplies in a way they did not expect. They begin to see their own child in a new light, not as the little one they raised, but as someone now carrying forward the responsibility of nurturing another life. It is a circle completed, a story continuing, a heart expanding. A grandparent does not just love their grandchild. They love the reflection of themselves within the next generation. They love the dreams they once had now taking shape in new hands. They love the continuation of their legacy. A new baby entering the family changes everything. It softens the hardest hearts. It brings distant relatives together. It heals old wounds. It reminds everyone of what truly matters. That tiny life becomes a symbol of renewal, a chance to start again, a reminder that family is not just memory, it is movement, growth, and continuity. As generations grow, love adapts. Parents learn to let go, trusting that the values they passed on will guide their children. Grandparents step into a quieter role, but one filled with depth, offering comfort without control, wisdom without judgment, presence without pressure, and children, as they become adults, begin to appreciate all the love that shaped them. They realize that everything they are carries echoes of the people who came before. Love multiplies across generations because it is never meant to stay still. Each generation adds its own chapter, its own struggles, its own triumphs. Each generation also adds its own love, shaped by different times, different experiences, and different dreams. Yet despite these changes, the core remains the same: the desire to protect, to nurture, to guide, and to give unconditionally. There comes a moment in every family when someone looks around, a parent holding their child, a grandparent watching their family gather, and they realize that love is not just something they feel, it is something they built. It is something they carried forward, something they shared, something that will continue long after they are no longer here. And in that understanding, there is a peace that cannot be described. Love is the one inheritance that never runs out, the one legacy that becomes richer the more it is given. A family that loves deeply ensures that each generation grows stronger, kinder, and wiser than the one before. It creates a lineage rooted not in wealth or status, but in connection and compassion. In the end, love does not divide when shared. It multiplies. It does not weaken when stretched across generations. It strengthens. Every new life adds a new branch to the family tree, but it also adds a new heartbeat to the rhythm of love that has been playing for decades, even centuries. And as long as families continue to love, the story will never end. Every visit we make, every moment we choose to show up, every time we knock on a door, whether physical or emotional, holds the potential to change someone's life. We often underestimate the power of simply being present, believing that only grand gestures or life-altering decisions can make a difference. Yet, time and again, life teaches us that the simplest visit, the smallest presence, the quietest moment of connection can rewrite the story we thought we knew. A visit is more than arriving at someone's home. It is arriving in someone's heart. When you show up, you are not just standing in their space. You are stepping into their world, acknowledging their existence, reminding them that they matter, that they are remembered, that they are not alone. And sometimes, that reminder is all a person needs to breathe again. We live in a world where everyone is busy carrying burdens they rarely talk about. People smile on the outside while silently battling storms within. Loneliness hides behind laughter. Exhaustion hides behind responsibility, and unspoken pain hides behind the routines of daily life. A visit, not a text, not a call, but your actual presence, has the power to break through those walls gently and bring comfort without needing explanations. Every visit has the potential to bring healing because presence carries a message that words cannot fully express. When you sit beside someone, even in silence, you tell them, "I'm here. You don't have to face this alone." You offer them a moment of peace, a reminder of connection, a breath of relief in a world that often demands too much. Think of the times in life when someone unexpectedly visited you, not for a reason, not for a celebration, but simply because they cared. You may not remember their exact words, but you remember how you felt. You remember the warmth, the reassurance, the sense of being valued. That feeling stays long after the visit ends, and that is the power of presence. It leaves a memory that can outlast pain. Sometimes a visit becomes a turning point. A parent visiting their child after months of silence can rebuild a broken connection. A friend showing up unannounced can remind someone that they still matter. A grandparent's visit can fill a child's heart with memories they will carry into adulthood. A single visit can open a door that someone thought was permanently closed. People change slowly, but moments can change people. A visit can be that moment. It can renew relationships, soften resentment, and heal misunderstandings. It can spark hope where someone felt forgotten. It can bring clarity where there was confusion. It can offer forgiveness without words. It can remind someone that love still exists even when life has been difficult. One of the greatest tragedies is believing that visits do not matter. That, they already know I care. That, I'll go next week. But life does not guarantee second chances. People grow older, children grow up, relationships drift, opportunities fade. A visit postponed too long can become a regret that follows us for years. But a visit made today, even if small, even if brief, can become a memory that blesses someone for a lifetime. Parents, especially, hold deep emotional ties to visits. When a grown child comes home, even just for a few hours, it fills a parent's heart with indescribable joy. The house feels alive again. Memories awaken. Love becomes visible in every corner. That visit reminds them that their efforts, their sacrifices, their sleepless nights were worth it. It tells them, without words, that they still matter in their child's world. Similarly, children need visits too, even when they act strong and distant. A parent showing up, not to control, not to question, but simply to be present, can restore a sense of safety that adulthood often steals. It reminds them that no matter how complex life becomes, they will always have a place where love waits with open arms. Grandparents, in particular, hold a special place in the story of visits. Their hearts are full of stories, memories, and wisdom that only grow richer with age. A visit to a grandparent is like stepping into a living library of love. And when they visit their grandchildren, something magical happens. A connection forms that bridges decades. Their presence becomes a blessing, their love becomes a legacy, and their visits become moments that children carry with them long after childhood ends. Every visit is a ripple that touches more than just one life. When you show up for someone, it often inspires them to show up for someone else. Compassion spreads, kindness multiplies, relationships deepen, families strengthen. Sometimes we underestimate how much good we set in motion simply by knocking on a door and saying, "I thought of you." Even brief visits can change the atmosphere of a home. They can turn a lonely evening into a warm memory. They can turn a difficult day into a manageable one. They can turn sorrow into comfort, confusion into clarity, fear into courage. You may walk into someone's home with nothing in your hands, but you leave them with something priceless. Your time, your attention, your presence. The truth is, you never know what someone is going through until you visit them. A person you think is strong may be collapsing inside. Someone who looks successful may be struggling silently. Someone who says, "I'm fine," may be hoping someone cares enough to show up anyway. A visit uncovers what distance hides. It brings truth to the surface. It brings hearts together. One day, you will look back and realize that the most meaningful moments of life were not the big events, but the small visits. The times you sat with someone, laughed with them, cried with them, shared stories, shared silence, or simply held their hand. The times you showed up when it mattered. The times you made someone feel seen, heard, and valued. And one day, someone will visit you, your children, your grandchildren, a friend, a loved one, and their footsteps will echo with the same love you once gave. Life is a circle, and love always returns to the place it came from. So every visit matters. Every presence matters. Every moment spent with those we care about shapes the story of our lives in ways we may never fully understand. We think we are just visiting a person, but often, we are visiting a heart, a memory, a connection, a legacy. Every visit is a chance to heal, to love, to reconnect, to understand, to forgive, to grow, and to change a life. And more often than not, it changes yours too.